In 2020, a terrifying storm suddenly erupts in the middle of the desert on our Earth. This storm opens up a wormhole-like portal, through which one can easily travel to another universe. However, that universe is ruled by terrifying monsters. So, let's check out this extraordinary story of humans and monsters. At the beginning of the story, we see a massive ship. But this ship isn't sailing on water. It is sailing on sand. Actually, this isn't our world. It was a completely different one. There were many warriors on the deck of the ship heading toward a tower in front of them. This is actually the Sky Tower, from which a path to other worlds flows. Meaning, through this tower, one can even travel from this world to our Earth. In this world, many terrifying monsters resided. Just then, a desert monster attacks their ship. This attack was so ferocious that the warriors couldn't handle the monster at all. Because of this attack, one of their companions falls from the ship and gets buried in the sand. He screams to be saved, but no one else on the ship hears his cries. The others assume he is dead and take the ship away from there. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to our world, Earth, where we see two teams of soldiers in the desert. These two teams were moving one behind the other on a mission. Suddenly, the team in the back learns that Team A, the ones who went ahead, has suddenly vanished from the middle of the desert. Hearing this, they start moving forward continuously to find Team A. That's when they see large stones on the road, with something written in a very ancient language they knew nothing about. They couldn't understand what was going on. Right then, they notice that the tire tracks of the team that went ahead have suddenly disappeared. Furthermore, as they move a bit forward, they see a massive storm barreling towards them from ahead. Seeing this, they all get terrified because the storm was incredibly dangerous. The captain of their team is named Natalie. Now, they all get caught in this storm. Natalie orders her soldiers to quickly get out of the storm, but it was so intense that it literally blew their vehicles into the air. When the storm calms down, they find themselves inside a desert. But strangely, the sand in this desert was completely white. They had actually arrived in a new world through that storm. There, they find their lost Team A, whom someone had brutally killed. The burned bodies of all the soldiers were lying there. However, the surprising thing was that there were no signs of a battle, meaning there was no way to understand who attacked these soldiers. There were only a few bullet casings lying around, but they couldn't figure out who those bullets were fired at. After that, they take their vehicles and slowly start moving forward from there. Just then, that warrior who fell into the sand from the ship at the beginning of the story spots them. When they try to cross a path made of a massive skeleton in their vehicles, the sheer size of the skeleton blows their minds. Because if the skeleton is this big, who knows how massive the creature itself must be. Right then, that warrior shoots an arrow to warn them, as if trying to say this place isn't safe for them. Natalie immediately understands the situation, so they all want to get out of there quickly. But just then, the monster hiding under the sand attacks them. That huge monster kills some of Natalie's companions right on the spot. Seeing all this, the warrior comes forward to help them. He shoots arrows to try and distract the monster so that Natalie and her remaining companions can take this opportunity to escape from the monster. Actually, that warrior was a human from this world. Anyway, despite doing all this, the huge monster wasn't letting them go. So, the soldiers run into a cave located there. They thought they might be safe, but then spider monsters appear inside the cave. They attack the soldiers one by one. A spider monster attacks Natalie and knocks her unconscious. Everyone thought Natalie was probably dead, so the others fought the spiders and tried to escape, but the monsters killed them all. However, fortunately, Natalie, who was still alive, manages to free herself from the spider's web. But just then, the spider returns and catches her again. The spider takes her to a place where its eggs were kept. Here, Natalie finds one of her companions. She wants to take him and get out, but the spider's poison had spread too much in his body. So, before dying, he simply tells Natalie, "Captain, you have to get out of here no matter what." Natalie slowly starts climbing out of the cave alone, leaving her companion who had passed away down there. The spider monster, however, hasn't given up the chase yet. Just as Natalie is about to get out, she slips and falls back down. Thinking quickly, she shoves the flare she was holding right into the spider's mouth, causing it to catch fire. Using this opportunity, she somehow manages to scramble out of the cave. The spider tries to follow her out, but the monster can't step into the sunlight. Natalie realizes then that these monsters cannot tolerate the sun. After that, Natalie climbs to the highest point nearby and sees nothing but white desert in every direction. Seeing this, she becomes completely hopeless. She picks up a rock and throws it onto the sand to test if the massive monster would pop up during the day. As soon as the rock hits the ground, the monster bursts out. Natalie realizes that the monsters can sense even the slightest vibration in the sand to locate their prey. And moreover, these desert monsters are fully capable of attacking during the day. Moving forward from there, she reaches a spot where she finds the ship shown at the beginning of the story. The ship hadn't made it any further. It was destroyed right there by the monster attack. Desperate for food and water, Natalie climbs aboard the ship, hoping to find some supplies. Suddenly, the hunter attacks her. This is the same hunter who fell from the ship earlier and had tried to help Natalie's team. However, the hunter believes that people from other worlds bring danger to this one. A fight breaks out between Natalie and the hunter. Both of them are skilled fighters, but the hunter manages to capture Natalie this time and takes her to his hideout. This place was safe from monsters, both day and night. Later, the hunter goes out to scout a path to send this girl back to her own world. When he returns, he finds that Natalie is no longer where he left her. She attacks the hunter from behind, and this time, she manages to turn the tables and capture him. Another fight ensues, and while wrestling, they both tumble outside. The hunter slips and starts falling toward the pit where the spider monsters live. But before his hand slips away, Natalie realizes they shouldn't be fighting. If one of them dies, the other won't survive either, because they need to stick together to survive the monster attacks. So, finally Natalie pulls the hunter up and saves his life. Natalie then unties the hunter and gives him some chocolate to eat, something the hunter had never tasted in his entire life. They both decide to help each other. Although the hunter couldn't understand anything Natalie was saying, through spending time together, they started to understand each other a little bit through gestures. The hunter signals to her that they need to get to the tower in the distance. Once they reach it, they can both return to their respective worlds or homes. Natalie gestures back that she has a jeep up ahead containing heavy weapons and bombs, and if they can get their hands on those, they can kill the monsters. The hunter laughs at her idea and tells her that her weapons won't do a thing against these monsters. To kill these beasts, they need the help of another monster. He explains to Natalie that they can use the venom of the underground spider monsters to kill the sand monster. But first, they have to acquire that venom. So, at night, they set a trap to catch a spider monster. Natalie stands there as bait to lure the monster in. When the spider monster comes up behind her to attack, it gets caught in the hunter's trap. Then, with one strike, the hunter breaks off the monster's poisonous stinger and takes it with them. That night, the hunter uses the poisonous stinger to craft a terrifying weapon so that the monster lurking beneath the sand can be killed easily. But getting this job done wasn't so easy. So, starting the next day, the hunter begins putting Natalie through some grueling training so she can handle their weapons properly and become skilled enough to fight the monster. The next morning, they lure the monster out into the open. Then, they attempt to kill the beast with immense bravery. The hunter shoots a poison-tipped arrow straight into the monster's eye. This doesn't kill the monster, but it severely damages one of its eyes. Then we see Natalie firing wildly at the monster with her gun. Not only that, she also starts detonating bombs. But despite all this, the monster just wouldn't die. So, the hunter leaps onto the monster's head to plunge his sword into it. But before he can, the monster flings him down with a sudden jerk. The hunter is knocked unconscious by the impact. Now, Natalie has to fight this battle alone. So, she climbs onto the monster's head and drives the sword left by the hunter right into its skull. As a result, within moments, the massive monster dies. Meanwhile, since the hunter was still unconscious, Natalie drags him along, continuing their journey through the desert. However, the hunter regains consciousness along the way. After that, the two of them cross the desert and reach a place where there was food, water, and lush greenery all around. The hunter already knew this place because he was a resident of this world, and there were no dangerous predatory creatures in this area. The creatures that were there, although weird-looking, were vegetarians like cows and goats. That night, as the two of them sat talking, a massive fire-breathing dragon suddenly appears. This dragon was actually the most terrifying monster in this world. As soon as the dragon arrives, all the animals in the forest start fleeing. Just as the dragon is about to crush Natalie and the hunter, some of the hunter's companions arrive and save them. Among the hunter's companions was the admiral, who was their leader. He realizes that Natalie is not from their world, so he imprisons her. But since Natalie was a soldier herself, she manages to escape from the cell. However, very soon she comes face to face with the admiral again. But this time, the admiral tells her, "The hunter told me you are a good person. There is no reason to be afraid of us. I actually thought at first that people from other worlds might be a threat to us. But hearing the hunter's words, I realized I was wrong." Natalie is surprised to hear the admiral speaking in her own language. She asks him, "How do you know our language?" The admiral informs her that she isn't the first person to arrive here from her world. Many people have come before, and through them, he was able to learn their language. Natalie then asks him, "But how do we come to your world?" The admiral explains that the civilization of the people living in this world was far more ancient than that of Earth. They had advanced so much in science and technology that they built a massive tower to open pathways to any world in the universe. But due to excessive scientific experimentation and some catastrophic failures, the people of this world destroyed themselves. However, that pathway for traveling to other worlds still remains today. Then, the admiral points to the massive tower in front of them and says that those people built this very tower. Through this tower, you can go to your world or anywhere else in the universe. We want to close that path forever because we don't want anyone from your world to come here and face danger, or for the monsters here to go to other worlds in the universe and endanger them. The admiral further adds that they tried to destroy the tower many times before, but their mission failed and the hunter got separated from them. They thought the hunter was no longer alive, but now that both the hunter and Natalie are with them, they will try once more, and hopefully, this time, they will definitely succeed in destroying the tower. So, the next morning, they all set out towards the tower to shut it down, and within a short time, they reach it. Upon arriving, Natalie once again sees the same kind of stones she saw back on Earth. The stones had strange writings on them, which she still couldn't understand because these writings were in the ancient language of the people of this world. Due to the tower, automatic electrical energy was being generated all around, causing rain and gusty winds to blow. Just then, that massive dragon appears, the same one that had attacked Natalie and the hunter earlier. It was terrifying. Now, along with the storm, rain, and lightning, fire was also raining down everywhere. Seeing all this, the admiral shouts that if they want to kill this dragon, they have to strike exactly at the moment it inhales to breathe out fire, because that is when the dragon is at its weakest. So, the dragon attacks all of them, and they counterattack. But killing this dragon wasn't that easy because every time it breathed fire, a terrifying storm would erupt. It was exactly like the storm that had brought Natalie and her team to this world. This meant the dragon's presence was activating many things there, and the path back to Earth also opens up. At this stage of the battle, the dragon comes right in front of Natalie and is about to spew fire at her. Finding nowhere to run, Natalie jumps off the cliff. Fortunately, the storm was right below, and through it, she reaches Earth directly. As soon as she arrives in her own world, she sees a massive army team waiting, searching for them. They are shocked to see Natalie alive. They immediately rescue her and try to take her to safety for medical treatment. But just then, the dragon arrives there too. Actually, while chasing Natalie, the dragon had also jumped into that storm, and now it has arrived in our world. The dragon attacks the soldiers indiscriminately, killing all of them in the blink of an eye and destroying their planes. However, despite this horrific accident, Natalie was still alive, and she still had those otherworldly weapons she got from the hunter and his team. With these weapons, Natalie immediately attacks the dragon. Just as the dragon is about to breathe fire to kill her, Natalie fires multiple grenades straight into its mouth. Instantly, all the bombs explode inside the dragon's stomach. The dragon starts burning and slowly goes still. Seeing this, Natalie becomes very happy, thinking she has killed the dragon all by herself, but she was completely wrong, because this dragon, made of fire, was still alive. It stands up again and is about to kill Natalie when the hunter suddenly arrives. This time, the hunter himself shoots multiple arrows at the dragon. The admiral had also reached there by then. Now, they all attack the dragon together. Since the dragon was already much weaker than before, this time, due to the intensity of their combined attack, the dragon finally dies right there. The admiral then tells them that the gateway between worlds is still open, and soon many more monsters could come into their world. If they can't close that path, this world will be destroyed forever. Just then, we see another massive dragon emerging from behind the storm, about to enter Earth. So, the three of them set out to kill that dragon, because if they don't, it might destroy the entire world. Meanwhile, we get a glimpse of the hunter's world, where a police officer, who wasn't human but looks somewhat like a cat, is fighting monsters. From a distance, a hooded figure watches all of this in secret. We don't know who that person is. This was the post-credit scene, suggesting that a second part to this story might be coming. Anyway, let me know in the comments how you liked the story. As for the unanswered questions in the story, like who that police officer was and who the hooded figure was, we might find out if a sequel ever comes out. So, I'm signing off for today. Good night.